You are watching Roll a Mile in My Shoes TV.
On May 19th, 1960, 32-year-old Maddie Green, a mother of six, died from an explosion of a bomb that was planted underneath her house. Maddie Green's case is really unique because they think that the KKK might have had something to do with planting the bomb, although it is said that Maddie Green was also having an affair with an unnamed, unknown individual because the case files are heavily redacted. So if I don't mention some people's names in this video, it's because I don't have them. I've looked everywhere, can't find them. And, it happened in the 60s. So unfortunately, also, the original case file was destroyed, and the other case file that was related to her case was also destroyed in a flood, coincidentally, in the 70s, which is kind of weird and crazy. Although the governor at the time, Ernest Van Diver, posted a $500 reward for information in Maddie Green's death, no perpetrator was ever caught. Now, the bomb might not have been intended for Green and her family. Some people think that the bomb was intended for her neighbor. Maddie Green's husband, Jethro Green, was or had connections to the local NAACP. And like I said earlier, the bomb that was planted under their house might have been intended for a neighbor that had an altercation with several white men. And although the husband was connected to the local NAACP, the family was not known for civil rights activity or showing what some neighbors or some white neighbors considered to be uppity. Even though the evidence that was collected at the scene at the time of the bombing was destroyed in 1970 in a flood at Catoosa Courthouse in Ringgold, Georgia, in 2003, the Southern Poverty Law Center got a heavily, and I do mean heavily redacted, case file, but the original case file was closed or destroyed in 2003. Now, I don't understand why they destroyed this evidence because, if someone were to had it and was able to go back and look at it, they probably could have gotten something from it that nobody else was able to get all these years. But I guess they figured since, the case was closed and everything, basically was destroyed, it was okay to go ahead and destroy the, I guess, case file, which is paper, of course. In 2009, the FBI decided to reopen the case and take another look at it. Now, in a small town, if anybody is from a small town, you all know how the rumor mill runs rampant, and it is rumored that two deceased Ringgold residents, Lester Waters and W.E. Waters Sr., were rumored to have involvement in Maddie Green's death, although that was never proven. Now, the daughter of Maddie Green told the FBI that her mother might have been murdered by these two individuals because an officer by the name of J.D. Stewart said that one of these two men, which is Lester Waters, had confessed to her murder. and he went to the mental institution in Millersville, Georgia, which is a place that's not too far from Ringgold, Georgia, because again, those two towns are very small. But the deputy said that, his involvement drove him crazy, apparently, and that's why he had to be taken there. And JD Stewart said that he had transported him to the mental institution in Millersville, Georgia. But they could not, the facility, of course, could not provide information about whether he was actually a patient there. And a lady some years later came up to Maddie Green's daughter and said, "I'm sorry about what happened to your mother." And she also heard that I guess Mr. Waters had been involved or was involved, and it drove him crazy. And he went to Central State Hospital, which is where he was supposedly a patient, but that cannot be confirmed, of course, even though the sheriff, J.D. Stewart, said that he was one of the ones that transported him to Central State Hospital in Millersville. Although they reopened the case in 2009, they unfortunately closed the case in April of 2012. Now, I feel like some of these cases, the police should go back and take a look at the grandkids and the great grandkids, because I'm pretty sure somebody somewhere remembers hearing their grandparents brag about this as a child, about killing Maddie Green. And I think that a lot of times people forget that, people have kids and grandkids and even great grandkids in some cases. And I just think that somebody somewhere, even if it's their great grandkids, remembers hearing their, grandparents or great grandparents brag about having something to do with this, or even just hearing somebody that said they had something to do with it. So I think that should be, taken into account when looking into these cases like this. But if you guys like this video, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching.